If you are receptive to or see strange goings on, they sort of keep happening, and you experience more as if they want to tease, show you snippets that an existence beyond ours really does exist. The trouble is, once you look, they all start showing up. This episode happened in Greater London, in a masonette during the late 80s. The building was not old, built in the 60s. The area is not remote, but densely populated, which is all the more reason why the inexplicable happenings that surrounded this modest little masonette are so intriguing.
Rita, my friend, yeah, she was very much, she and Manny were very much into seances.
Yeah.
And Manny always used to say that the bedroom was very cold and he thought there might be something there. I said, oh, poo-pooed it like I usually do. And Rita slept in the spare bedroom, and she said, Joe, I like your flat very much, but because it was a nice flat, but she said, I'll never again stay here. She said, there's something wrong with this place. That is the truth. Yeah.
This is the Interdimensional Voyagers. The walk from the garages at the back of the masonettes had no lighting, exceptionally dark. It was a privately owned access to communal parking for residents. The two parking spaces, bar spaces, looking over the common, adjacent at the end of the garages, stood wire fencing, and beyond was a playing field. On the playing field was a high block of flats. Sundays, five-a-side football would be played. There'd be the sounds of whistles and shouts. It was a good vantage point to watch the football without traipsing over wet and muddy ground. Our flat, I call it flats, really a masonette, block of 4. Our one was a ground floor one. We'd moved into it from Clacton-on-Sea. It was in a London suburb of Greater London. The masonette was along a busy road on a main bus route. The bus route headed along from, so I think, Shepherd's Bush all the way to Heathrow Airport. It was along the 105 bus route. Now, there was a bus stop, glass bus stop, on the pavement outside our flat. Our flat was in the block of 4. It was the block of 4 were detached. The whole block was a detached block. And the front door to the ground floor flats were on the side of the entrance. So side entrance. So basically, you would go. Our front door was on the side of this block, and then we'd hit a pathway, and then the pathway would run all the way down with a kick out for the garden fence. So it'd be like an L shape as you walk down towards the garages and the 2 parking spaces. And then if you were to walk the other opposite direction, you would walk up the path and up to a wooden gate, a sprung low level gate, and then the pavement. The front garden was mostly laid to lawn. Yeah, and that was about it. Oh, the upstairs masonettes, they had their front door on the front of the block. So either side, their front doors were on the front, and then as soon as you go through the front door, you'd go up a staircase. Right, the side entrance by masonette opened into a hallway. Directly on the left was a door leading to the bathroom. Small bathroom, not big. It had a 1970s pink cast iron bath, a large pink sink and matching pink toilet. Funny enough, I lived there with Mum. Guess what her favourite colour was? Yeah, purple. No, it was pink actually. Right, had a window, really high level, very narrow, frosted. Well, yeah, sort of patterned frosted, if I remember rightly. Sort of swirls of frost. I also had a fan inset into the glass of the bathroom on the window. It was one of those fans which wasn't electric. It was an old-fashioned fan where you had a little bit of string, pulled it, and it would close off a plastic shutter, because it used the wind or air movement from outside to turn the fan. Pretty crap really, but you know, there you go. But it was an annoying little thing. Okay. Further down the hallway, there was a glass panelled door opening out onto a large lounge. Now, one side of the lounge was a kitchen area, and the lounge had a doorway leading onto a garden. Small, neat, tidy garden. Mum loved gardening. So that's that. The upstairs flat had a garden, small again, and just behind our one, segregated off by a 6-foot fence, wooden 6-foot fence. The end of the corridor at the end was Mum's bedroom. The large window in it faced out onto the grass of the front garden. My room was on the right. It was a small bedroom, and the flat above ours had their front door to the right of my small bedroom window, which, by the way, only opened from the bottom out, kind of thing. It was a security thing, I guess. Okay. So basically, my room was squeezed between Mum's room and the upstairs flat's staircase, which had a wall there, but you know, and then echoes every time they banged their front door, and then thump, 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 thump up the stairs. But I got used to that quickly. At night, my room would be lit with the soft glow from the bus shelter. Very nice. Then every 30 minutes or so, a bus would pull up to the bus stop, wait, and light from the tall double-decker bus would flood the room together with the rattling rumble of the bus idling. It happened so often I didn't take much notice of it really after a while. Okay, so that is the layout. Now I will go into the paranormal events that happened in this odd little flat. By day it was a happy feeling place. By night it dropped into a oppressive, dark and cold place. I kept telling myself it didn't make sense. It's all still the same place. But little things, always the little things, start the nerves off for jingling. The side passageway, you never really wanted to walk down it. You'd always feel like you wanted to run. It was dark, very dark. You have to remember this, it was not some out in the sticks village country place. This was Greater London, with lights, sound everywhere. Traffic noise, shouting, people walking, talking everywhere. It was, yeah, full of life. It wasn't some country lane. Except this alleyway. Nothing except cold and dark. It felt like someone was just there ready to step out. You would always look over your shoulder down this alleyway. So much so, I put up an outside light on the wall above the front door. But because the path had an L shape to it, so kind of halfway along there was a kick out by the garden gate, or the garden fence, so the light seemed to struggle to illuminate the dark anyway. It would get swallowed up by the dark down the alleyway, and with that kick out it would only go as far as halfway up the path, the rest of it pitch black again. It was late, around 10 p.m, as I swept into the parking bay. The car headlights lit up like searchlights, the common, on the grass. Standing was a large black dog. Its eyes were deep orange, nearly red, a long muzzle, and a hump of fur on its back. It wasn't looking directly at me. It looked to be facing the tall block of flats. I only noticed the eyes because it swung its head around directly facing the car lights as I swung in. I froze. The size of it was massive, and black, jet black with silver grey fur. At least that's what I could make out. I pushed the light stalk on the switch in the car to flick it onto main beams, and then nothing. It was gone. Between the dark moment of the headlights running from headlight to high beam, it just disappeared. I looked up over at the lights coming from the high-rise flats. Mostly all were on, and some were not. Don't know what that dog was looking at. The noise of the city came back into focus. The massive dog with the eyes still in my mind. I locked the car and walked along the side path quickly into the bright light above the door. That was not the last time it appeared. Okay, the shower was useless. It was a mixer tap off the baths, so I opted for a bath instead. I always felt cold in that bathroom, probably because of the outside wall. The window was high level on the outside wall, narrow, frosted. I looked up at the plastic fan slowly turning. I remember thinking to myself, does that fan ever stop turning? The constant tapping of a thin brittle plastic on plastic sounds. I used the tea mug I had taken in, tea now gone, and glugged it into the water to wash my hair. Just then the outside light flashed on, lit up the narrow bathroom window. I could see the light. Then voices, the people upstairs. Yep, they're home with shopping. It's 8 p.m, Friday. Their voices reached an audible volume, then drifted off, till I heard them in their flat upstairs. I continued to drown my hair in the warm water, then slapped on some shampoo and rubbed it through my hair. Always in my eyes. What the hell? The towel was on the towel rad under the window, on the other side of the small window. I can usually reach out if I just lean out a bit further. 2 firm hard knocks hit the front door. I hit the floor. I grabbed a towel and looked up at the window. No light was on. The fan had slowed to a virtual stop. Bonnie, my mum's dog, was growling in the hallway as I opened the bathroom door, a towel wrapped round my waist. Good girl, it's okay. Who is it? I wondered at myself. Opening the door at the same time. Hello? We have a doorbell, you know. No one. As soon as I looked up and down the passageway, boom, the light came on. Further up the path, I stared into the dark a little longer than I should, just looking. It must be headlights down the passage at the end. Were red lights. They then went off. The rattling tap of the fan continued slowly. I leaned up and gave it a thump. One of my mum's friends came to stay and commented on the strange vibe of the place. One of the odd things was how cold even in summer my bedroom would be. The recording at the beginning is an account of my mum's friends who stayed and never stayed again. My room was very small. I had a bed and a table and little else. One night I got up in the early hours to have a wee. I went out into the hallway, walked down in the bathroom. When I came back, my door was closed. This happened often. On other occasions it was much more sinister. Okay, it's time for a break. Ruby, put the kettle on. It was moving day for the couple upstairs. They were a young couple, nice, but she was expecting, and they had the chance of getting a house, so they decided, what the hell, yeah, why not. Can't say I blame them at all. So on the Saturday I gave them a hand getting the larger items down the narrow passageway, and by Sunday they were collecting the last of their bits and said their goodbyes. A board went up in the front garden and people would come and view the property over the course of a few weeks thereafter, which pleased Mum because it gave her something to do. She'd be on sentry duty, either pretend mowing the lawn out the front, saying hello to them as they came and iron them up or down, or both, and or if it was bad weather, she'd be in her front room, in her bedroom, peeking through the window. Lovely, yeah. And I got a full update of everyone that came in. A few weeks later, the place had been empty for about 3 weeks then. It was 2 a.m. I was in bed, asleep, until I heard scratching, then tapping. The sound was like a sharp point hitting a table, but though through the wall, it was odd. Then scratching again, long and slow. I stood up and put the side light on, looking at the wall. My bed was up against it, that wall. Remember, my bedroom was between my mother's bedroom, my mum's bedroom, and on the other side, the other wall was against the neighbour's staircase going up to their flat. So yeah, 2 a.m. I looked on a digital clock. I looked back at the wall and it had stopped. I looked carefully through the curtains, couldn't see the lights on with the flat upstairs, so I didn't hear anyone walking up the staircase. It's just a bit odd, really. My first thought was they'd left an animal, a pet, behind. I was really anxious, so anxious that they, in case they had. So next morning I phoned the couple and asked if they'd left a pet behind. They replied, no, they didn't. They didn't have one. And they asked me why I was asking. And I just said, I just wondered, I thought I heard, and I didn't continue, I just stopped there. Never mind, sorry to bother you, I said. I didn't want to tell them that I heard tapping coming from their flat and scratching. Just sounds a bit weird, doesn't it? Right, now, the shadow in the hall. About a week later, after the tapping, the flat upstairs had been taken, or at least in the process. The board in the garden had been updated and things were quiet for a short spell until Mum had went out dancing one evening. She liked a bit of ballroom dancing in a local town hall. I stayed in to keep Mum's dog Bonnie company. To get some treats in for her and me, settled down on the sofa for a movie night. Bonnie liked movie night with me. Well, the treats part anyway. The film was coming to an end, and I got up to go to the kitchen. As I looked in the direction of the kitchen, not so much as a figure as the shape. I could see through the glass door. Yes, it was a patterned glass door, but no mistaking what I could see. Not tall, more dog size, large black shadow go past the frosted glass lounge door. Whatever it was in the hallway, it was heading towards the front door and the bathroom. I looked at Bonnie. She was old and still out for the count after the treats, snoring her head off. The strange thing was, the hallway light was off, and yet the darkness of this thing was darker than the darkness of the hallway. Opening the door, I went out, turned on the light, checked the bathroom. Nothing. Not a thing was moved or seen, but for months afterwards I kept seeing this wispy dark shadow, glimpsing it always in the hallway. One day I asked Mum if she had noticed the dog-like shadow. She did, and she said she had a name for it. Wraith, she called it. Now, the definition of wraith is a wisp or faint trace of something. After seeing it half dozen times, after a while, me and myself through the glass door in the hallway, light on, light off, made no difference. I once saw it late at night. I got up to get a drink, and a large, low smoke mass. It had tendrils like fingers clinging to the dark in the hallway, pulling it along as it went. A most fearsome void of darkness, blacker than any night, and it was living. I felt that this thing was alive, with its sharp points of fingers randomly pulling across the hallway night.
I know that I used to sit in the sitting room and look out through the glass door like there is here, and I used to see that in the hall regularly, but I just accepted it, I suppose. It didn't frighten me, dear. It really didn't frighten me at all. I wasn't afraid to go out in the hall and walk through it, kind of thing, if necessary.
Nothing interacted directly with us to warrant direct fear to Mum, Bonnie, or myself. The one and only thing that bugged me, did scare me, was the still vacant flat upstairs. Work was busy, I was dating. Luckily she had her own pad, so I stayed away a few nights a week at hers. One day Mum called, excited. She said the new people moving in next week. They knocked to say hello and brought round some cake. They seemed really nice, she said. By the way, she didn't leave any cake for me. I decided to stay at Mum's the week before they moved to cut the front grass after work and fix the gate and tidy up leaves around the back of the garages, just to make it look a bit nice for when they move in. Didn't want them thinking we were vagabonds. So Friday night, they were going to move in on a Monday. Okay, so the Friday night before, I was woken up by tap, tap, tap. I looked at the clock. It was 2:30 a.m. Half awake, I thumped on the wall with a floppy arm. Go away, it's not funny. Tap, tap, tap again. More awake, I heard the sound clearer. It wasn't from the wall, it was the window this time, my window. Sat up in bed, I leaned over, lifted a corner of the curtain, a loud tap, then a scratch like nails scraping down the window. I jumped up, stood by the door, opposite. My eyes not off the window. Thank God the window only opens from the bottom up. The curtains moved, fluttering out towards me, reaching out to me. I didn't want to look under them. I just stood. The noise stopped. Just then something laughed, a deep guttural laugh. Kind of faint. Upstairs no one was in. But I heard not feet but something else. It was heavy and coming down the staircase. The flat upstairs. Then down to the front door. The front door banged. Whatever it was gone. I didn't think, I just did. I looked between the curtains and saw a figure in the bus stop. Illuminated, remember the bus stop is, okay? This was early morning as well. Buses still ran to the airport night service, but rarely, if ever, did I see anyone waiting here in that bus stop. The figure was tall, very tall, but it was over 100 feet away from me. But I could clearly see he had a black suit on and a hat. He was looking at me. I swear he was smiling, not mouth open, teeth showing smile. No, this was a broad, high-cheeked, lips together smile. I didn't see his eyes. Then the bus headlights down the road turned up and came closer. He turned back, looking up at the headlights up the road. As the door of the bus was closing, a wispy black mass of smoke, of tendrils, I recognised them, seeped through the closing door. In the morning, I was already up. I didn't sleep. I saw Mum and told her what I saw, and the tapping and scratching on the window. Oh, I've always heard that sometimes it was on the back window where she sat. I said, what? Oh, yeah. When I used to hear tapping and scratching on the garden, on the window, when I used to sit in the lounge. Probably foxes, she said, or squirrels. I always leave some food out for them, especially in the cold weather. I can tell you now the one part I didn't tell Mum, and that was, as the bus was driving away, on the top deck of the empty bus was two figures. The tall man with a hat, I recognised the hat, and behind him another. I couldn't make out until momentarily, as buses did back then, the lights on the bus flickered off and on again. The figure, whatever it was, had the same, in the dark, that fraction of a second in the dark, it was looking at me, the figure behind the tall man. And it had the same large, deep orange-red eyes I saw in that large dog on the common so long ago. Thank you for listening. This is the Interdimensional Voyagers podcast.